What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Horror, and today we are back with another killer looks ranking because I have already done the Michael Myers masks ranking, and there was like almost 30 of those, so that was a pretty long video to do. But I was thinking about it, and I'm not super passionate about Michael Myers. I like him. I like the Halloween movies, but he's not my favorite. My favorite is Jason Voorhees. He's my boy, so obviously I would know a lot more about his looks, be a lot more passionate about when he looks bad versus when he looks good. So I decided to do a looks of Jason ranking. This is episode 3 of my Halloween Spooktacular. You can check out my Michael Myers mask ranking. I'll link to it on screen and probably link to it at the end of the video. But yeah, I wanted to do Jason because he's my boy, and I am very passionate about a lot of these looks. So let's get into it. Now again, with Michael Myers, I was like, there's 13 Halloween movies, but somehow there's like 26 masks. With Jason, there's 12 Friday the 13th movies, and I have 18 looks of him. So starting off with number 18, my least favorite look of Jason Voorhees, by a country mile, is Jason Takes a Boat. Jason Takes Manhattan. Almost forgot there. I think the movie might have forgot too. He just looks so awful in this. Like, every part of how he looks in this offends me. Let's just start off with the mask, the main piece of Jason, and they get it wrong. Not only are the red marks going inward towards his mouth, and they're just not the same, they're also way too thin, and his mask is yellow. His mask has never been yellow. It's been like a tannish, brownish color. Never yellow. So I hate that. And then, once you get past how terrible the mask looks, you get the rest of him, and he just looks pretty basic besides that, but he's constantly shining and just dripping wet. I don't know why he is doing, I don't know why, but he's just always wet in this movie. And then by the end of the film, you get him without his mask, which I will be taking into account him without the mask on, and you get this. Coming in at number 17, I have the look from Jason X, not Uber Jason, what he looks like before that. Well, there's little to nothing I can say good about this look. I mean, his clothes are pretty decent. They keep the chain around the neck from part 7, which wasn't present in part 8, so I don't know how. I'm not going to ask questions. The mask looks so terrible. I have always hated this mask, and I'm surprised by how many people are like, yeah, it's fine. I hate this mask because the nose looks like it's smashed up against it. He has a super flat nose. It's way too small for his face. And then you get these weird tufts of hair coming out the top, where at this point, Jason Voorhees is a zombie, and he doesn't have hair. So it's weird to see him with these, like, tufts of hair coming out from underneath the mask. The axe mark, it just doesn't look right. The mask is the main complaint here. That's the main thing when you think of Jason, is the mask, and this look completely botches that. Coming in at number 16, I have Uber Jason. Now, I am a Friday the 13th diehard fan. This is my favorite horror franchise of all time. I get it if you're not a Friday the 13th fan and you have fun with Jason X. I am a Friday the 13th fan, so to me, this is the worst movie by far, and I hate Uber Jason. Obviously, I think it's a little bit better than the look we got in the beginning, just because I think he looks a little cool, and if it was any movie besides Friday the 13th in space, I think I would like it a little bit more. But I know at this point the franchise had gone off the rails, but at this point they just kind of were like, all right, well, we don't care, just do whatever. He looks a little bit cool, but it's so cheesy. And I'm not saying none of this franchise is cheesy. I'm not saying that. I mean,
Oh my god! Oh my god!
coming in at number 15, this one isn't like a bad look. It's just, where else am I going to put little kid Jason from Freddy vs. Jason? This is seen in a few dream sequences. It's really the first time we've actually got like a good look at what Jason looked like as a kid. So, respect for that, but otherwise, like, how who's gonna argue this is a top 10 Jason look? Coming in at number 14, I have Jason's look in Friday the 13th Part 2. Now, this is not because he doesn't have the hockey mask. I obviously am a huge fan of the hockey mask, but that's not the reason that this look is so low. The reason this look is so low is because he's wearing a mask with one eye hole in it. That's the main reason. How the hell is this dude gonna see a single thing? All right, time to go kill him. I get it, it looks kind of cool, but it's completely impractical, and I'm not a huge fan of the sack over the head. And the look of Jason when he takes off the mask is just something that we never see again. He has like long, flowy hair. He still has the deformed face, but we never see Jason with long, flowy hair like that ever again. In the literal next movie, he is the complete opposite, just completely bald. So yeah, I'm gonna put it down. Number 13, I'm going with Swamp Boy Jason from the original Friday the 13th. Now, we get little glimpses of how Jason actually looks in some of the flashbacks of how Jason actually looked. And actually, I think he looks pretty terrifying. This is one of the scariest looks of Jason, I think, besides like some of the ones in my top 3. But then you also get the swamp version of this where he's covered in like swamp muck and he jumps out and takes Alice out of the boat. Like you can't argue it's a top 10 Jason look, just like I said with the little boy look from Freddy vs. Jason. Like you can't argue it's a top 10 look, but it's inoffensive. So it's here. Coming in at number 12, we're getting into looks that I actually pretty much like. But down here at 12, I am going with the 2009 look of Jason with the hockey mask. There are 2 looks he rocks in this one. I think the hockey mask one is the weakest of the 2. I still enjoy this look. It's down here at 12 just because it's my least favorite of my favorite looks. I just don't like the way the mask fits on his face. Like, he has a super long neck in this one, and he's super built, so the mask just feels very out of place for this Jason to look. I think he's much more intimidating with the bandaged up or the sack over the head, however it is in this one. I also don't like that Jason has the super long hair in this. It's more like just kind of like stringy hair in this, but still, I would prefer him to just be bald. Overall, a decent look, but definitely not a top 10 look. Coming in at number 11, I put it on the list. I know it's not technically Jason, but I'm going with number 11, Roy Burns.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
That's saying something, that a guy who isn't Jason is better than a lot of the Jason looks. This is just like the most basic version of Jason you could go for. They just changed out the main color. Instead of like green and red, he's just blue. So you get the pretty basic Jason mask, missing the top like triangle. I don't know what those are called. And then you get the blue ones going down. So the mask is a little bit different, and he's wearing a blue jumpsuit instead of the green shirt that we're used to. So I am one of the few people who is a Friday the 13th diehard and doesn't think that Roy is that bad, because literally you cut out that scene at the end where his mask like freaking explodes open and it's just Jason. Like, I love Jason, but now here's the thing with number 10. I went with the zombie look of Jason from Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. I did separate this look from the look we get in this movie where he has like the gloves and the shirt, just because they look so drastically different. I know he puts on the mask in this opening scene, but I'm going to consider these two separate looks just because he doesn't have any of the other clothes he has in that one. So those are two different looks despite being from the same movie. So the zombie look of Jason is at number 10. I think this is a very scary look for the opening scene. Obviously, I want him to have the hockey mask on, so I'm glad that they get it on him pretty quick. But this is intimidating, and I think a very scary look of Jason to, let you know he's a zombie now. So this opening scene is a very good sequence. I know a lot of people consider this like to be one of the most dumb moments in horror history. I never see it like that, but yeah, I think a very intimidating look. I like that he gets the mask on pretty quick, obviously, because, Jason is known for the mask, but very serviceable in the scene that it gets. Coming in at number 9, I can't put it that high because, as I said, he only has one eye hole. It's the sack head mask from Friday the 13th, 2009. I think this look is much more intimidating for Jason than the hockey mask is in this one. But again, he only cuts one eye hole. I get it. They're sticking true to how it was in part 2. But still very stupid, especially for this, like, really smart version of Jason. It feels weird that he'd still only cut one eye hole because, I love classic Jason, but he's pretty dumb. So, I mean, I could see why that guy would carve one eye hole into his mask. But this guy, he is a smart fella. He's running around, setting traps, using people as bait. So this is a smart guy, so I don't get why he would only carve one eye hole in. But otherwise, a very intimidating look. And yeah, very good. Coming in at number 8, we have Friday the 13th Part 3D. Now, I call this the Hunchback Jason because he looks like a hunchback in this. This look for me is pretty good. I obviously prefer the final chapter look where he's a little bit more worn into it. He looks the most clean in this one. He's got a nice fresh green shirt, a nice fresh hockey mask because this is the first movie where he gets it. Nice fresh gray pants. He's just in all new clothes, which obviously gets deteriorated over the rest of the series, but it's new in this one. I personally don't love the way that the mask fits on his face. I'm glad it looks very good in the next movie, but I think this first version of the mask is probably one of the weakest ones that we get of the original run of movies. Still good, and obviously an iconic mask and a great look, but just a little bit more basic than I would like. Coming in at number 7, we have the look that you probably get for, I think, the least amount of time in the series, just because Jason is in this movie for little to no time. And we do have the look from Jason Goes to Hell. And it's a shame because I think he looks pretty cool in this. I like the way that he looks extra deteriorated and just gross. I don't know why. Like, the logic doesn't make much sense, especially after you just saw him in part 7 and he's like basically a walking skeleton, and then in part 8 he has like more flesh again, and then now he's to this. I don't know, but I like the way that it looks like he has never taken this hockey mask off to the point where his skin is literally like it's embedded in his skin at this point, and his skin is growing around it and like bulging out from it. So I think he looks very cool in this. Not obviously a fantastic look. And I think if he did have this look for the entire movie and it wasn't the movie that it is, it might not be as good. But just the fact that we only get this look for a little bit and he looks pretty cool, I have it up this high. So coming in at number 6, we have Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Now, this is a good look and probably the look that most people imagine when they think of Jason. Not what I think of when I think of Jason. I think of more Part 4 or Part 3. But still a very good look. You get that green shirt back. You get a carpenter belt, which I don't get why, especially as he is now a zombie. He only gets smarter, which doesn't make much sense. But he gets the yellow gloves, which I don't love as much, but I think that they're fine. One of the best masks of the entire series. I would have preferred if it still had the red marks going down again, like it does in the first few movies, but still a fantastic mask. And as I said, with the zombie look from the opening scene, he looks very good without the mask on. I like that he's a little bit more resourceful. He's kind of like collecting things. He's picking up knives and his machete and different tools for this, and putting them in his carpenter belt. Again, I don't. It doesn't make much sense because he's a zombie at this point and he's like at his smartest. But I still think this is a very cool look, very serviceable one, but not one of the best of the series. Coming in at number 5, we have the look from Freddy vs. Jason, and this absolutely kills me because if you guys know, I love Freddy vs. Jason. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I gotta admit, the look he has in this movie isn't one of his best looks of all time. I think it is a good look, and I would have probably had it at my number 1 for a while just because, like I said, I'm super biased towards this movie. I love it. It's the movie that made me a horror fan. So, um, most people think, when they think of Jason, they think of, like I said, part 6 or part 3. But for the longest time, when I thought of Jason, I thought of Freddy vs. Jason. So that's weird, honestly. I like his look in this. It's more rustic. You know, his mask is more brown because like he like woke up from the dirt pretty much, and it was all covered in dirt and mud and stuff. And then halfway through the movie, he gets the slashes down it from Freddy's finger knife, which only makes him look even more cool. I will admit, the freaking platform shoes he's got on to make him look extra tall. I mean, Ken Kersinger is already a pretty tall dude, but for some reason they felt like they really needed to emphasize how tall this dude was, so they gave him shoes the size of freaking high heels, to wear. I like the jacket he has on. Obviously, like I said, I picture him more in a green shirt than in this brown jacket, but I like the look that he gets for this one movie. I don't love how his skin is like black and gray as much, and like I said, I don't like it when Jason has hair and he has some tufts of hair going down. I know it's like just like a little bit and it's pretty just like stringy, but I don't like that. But otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. Coming in number 4, I have the dream look from Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. Most people think Jason isn't in A New Beginning. Well, you'd be wrong because he's in it for a couple dream sequences with Tommy. This is basically just the look from the final chapter, but a bit more worn. Like, it's pretty much the exact same thing, and obviously I have that one a bit higher. It's pretty much the same thing. Just a bit more worn, a bit more dark. His mask is a bit more dirty. His clothes are a bit more dirty. But yeah, obviously I can't put it higher than the look from the final chapter. But coming in at number 3, I have a movie that is not canon to Friday the 13th, but I think it counts enough. I'm going to go with the mask and look from Never Hike Alone. I think since part 7, the only people to get the Jason look absolutely right. They nail it in this. It looks so good. Obviously, he doesn't have the green shirt, but he does have that jacket more like in Freddy vs. Jason. And by the way, I don't have Never Hike in the Snow and Never Hike Alone 2 in this as separate ones because he looks pretty much the same for all 3 of those, so I just counted it all as one. But I love his mask in this. The only thing is I think the color's a bit off on the mask. And he doesn't have the, like, red marks on it in some of them, I think. But still, he looks very cool, very intimidating in this. I think they got a much taller actor as well, so whoever it is very good as Jason. Yeah, like I said, the mask is amazing. I love the jacket. Like, they are one of the... I forget who makes these fan films, but they nail it. Coming in at number 2, I have the look from Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Now, this look is intimidating. I mean, I've said that a few of his looks are intimidating, but my God, have you seen him in A New Blood? He is falling apart. You can see his bones at some point. You can see his spine. So, like, he is a decrepit zombie at this point. He's got, like, some of his teeth showing. He is falling off of the bone at this point, and his makeup looks so good. I love the ripped shirt. They keep it consistent. He's still got the green shirt, but it's just ripped up, and he's got the chain around his neck from part 6, and he's rocking it like a necklace now. Another very good mask. I think if anything that is keeping it out of the number 1 spot, it would be the mask, but it's still a very, very good mask. I like that you get the more damage down the side here from the motor from part 6, so they're keeping it consistent, they're keeping the lore accurate, and he still has the axe mark from part 3 at this point. So, yeah, I love it. I love how he looks in this. His makeup is fantastic. I think he's never looked scarier than he has in this one. So, totally deserving of a top 3 spot. But I think the only reason I'm not having it in number 1 is because when I think of Jason, I don't think of this look. Because when I think of Jason, I think of my number 1, Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. When I think of Jason, I think of the final chapter Jason. I think of the green shirt, the hockey mask, just the machete. This is the most basic Jason you can get, and he somehow looks super scary in this. I was going to say his scariest, but I just said part 7 is his scariest, and I stand by that. But he's still pretty intimidating and brutal in this one. He looks super intimidating. Like, you see that guy, you do not want to mess with him. The mask looks amazing. He is just so amazing in this one. So, yeah, I think the look in the final chapter is the best look of Jason we've ever gotten. And that is going to be it for today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe so I want to see more videos like it in the future. Otherwise, you can comment down below some more video ideas for me. And stay tuned for the next 10 episodes of my Halloween Spooktacular, which, if you're new here, is where I post 13 videos throughout the month of October. I used to do it on the first 13 days of October, but now I'm just doing it throughout October. So I've already posted 2, my top 50 horror movies and my horror movie found footage tier list. So we're going to get a lot more videos here and ending with a big 31 movie ranking. So we'll get to that on October 31st, Halloween. But until then, I'm Ethan Horror. This has been Ethan Horror. Let's try that again.